Bonafide Hustler here, another walkie-talkie episode, guys. Now, on these walkie-talkie episodes, we discuss two things, reseller or thrifting oriented, and then one thing that's health related. Oh boy. First of all, it's 100 degrees out here in Austin, Texas. I am walking towards a park that maybe I can barefoot in, I don't know. They put fertilizer down, probably not. But I might take you to a little secret springs that I have found in that park. And maybe we'll see that at the end of this video. We'll see. So let's talk about the first topic, reseller oriented. As you watch my vlogs or any other resellers' vlogs, and when people sell stuff, let's say on Facebook Marketplace, for example. This is an open-ended kind of discussion, first of all. So I urge you to think about this answer and then comment below. The first thing is, do you tell people exactly what you do when you're selling something locally? Let's say you get a message that says, how long have you had this item? Have you tuned up this item? Where did you get this item, you know? Do you know the year? Where did it come from? I mean, do you tell them, oh, I just bought this thing at like a Goodwill the other day for $4.99, and you're inquiring about it at $200, for example? You don't tell, I don't know. That's a tough one. And it's not that perhaps some of us are lying about what we do, but at what point do you sit there and determine, okay, these questions that this so-called buyer or prospective buyer is asking me is completely irrelevant or intrusive or something like that. Now, lately, I've been telling people more that I am involved in bike resale or something like that, and that's cool. But I think it opens up a can of worms. I've seen a lot more people ask crazy questions that really don't belong in the arsenal of questions that matter, you know? So the first topic is, what do you tell people when you're selling something locally? And let's say they start asking about where did it come from? Do you know the year? What did you pay for it? You know, what do you tell them? Do you tell them the total truth, or do you make up some stuff? Let me know down below. Okay, second topic, and that is, this is more of like, how do you view your reselling business? Are you a numbers-oriented kind of person? Are you, like, what determines your success and how do you have fun doing this? I see a lot of people getting into reselling and they love it. They get into it from Reels and TikTok stuff and all that. And it's, the allure of reselling is pretty cool. Sorry, hold on. There's an Amazon Prime van going by me. Okay, so the allure of reselling is definitely really cool. And working for yourself and having your own job, like, that's cool. But I guess my question is, how do you make it fun for yourself? For me, obviously I make vlogs, which is fun. It's kind of cool. And yes, full disclosure, and you would already know this, but I get paid for them or from Google. Sponsors reach out here and there too, which is kind of nice, but I haven't done business with a sponsor in a minute. And then when I look at my reselling business, I like to gamify things. Like, I like to shoot for the moon. Like this morning, for example, when I was thrifting, because I like such higher return items, I found myself, frequently, this is what I do all the time, I come across an item that I can make 20 or 25 bucks on and I don't pick it up. Just because I don't want to deal with it, I want to hold myself to this like different kind of game that I like to play. And it's a gamification game. If I'm seeking a certain amount of money per day from reselling stuff, it's going to take a whole lot more smaller flips to get there and fewer bigger flips to get there. And so in the town that I live in, with X amount of hours per week, I can usually find good and bigger flips, I guess, right? So I go for that, and I don't bend my rules. And then I track it on a sheet and everything, right? And it makes it a lot of fun. Because like, if I'm at noon on a certain day, and then I'm behind on my daily projected whatever revenue, then I tend to want to list more or do something random. So basically it makes me want to work harder in certain times, right? Also, when I come back from garage sales and thrift stores, I want to list things pretty quick because it's fun. So that was my second question to y'all, is how do you run your reselling business to make it fun, to make it to where you want to do what you're doing? Let me know down below. Oh, there's so many cars zooming around, I swear. Maybe I'm just noticing it now because I'm vlogging and filming, whatever. Okay, so for the health-related topic, and this is something we kind of loosely covered in walkie-talkie video number 1, and that is sometimes being in shape. I mean, you can overcomplicate it. Being like, okay, you know, I gotta do the most effective thing possible, and I gotta go do HIIT classes, and I have to do, you know, this much running a week, and I have to get Strava and all these little apps and these little wearables and everything, or else I won't lose weight quick enough, you know. Okay, so one of the easiest ways to burn fat, lose weight, and not spike your hunger hormone, walking, especially walking after a meal. Okay, so I just had like this awesome chicken wrap with like 40 grams of protein 20 minutes ago, and then I was like, I'm gonna go walk in the sun. It's gonna be uncomfortable, and it is. And then like I can make it a little harder. I was like, I'll just put the weighted vest on. So I'm rocking a 22 and a half weighted vest today, pounds, of course, by Wolf Tactical. And yeah, it is getting miserable out here. Clearly you can see me sweating. I have my electrolytes. I'm making, you know, for every increase of like discomfort, I have a little bit of comfort right here. And yeah, I'm just trying to reduce body fat at this point without increasing my hunger. And that's a lot of times what other things will do for me, like HIIT workouts and, you know, going crazy, sled pushing, whatever, makes me hungry after that. So yeah, I think if you might be overcomplicating it if you want to lose weight by doing all this crazy working out and everything. There's a time and place for all that kind of stuff, but you know, if you just want the easiest way to do it without spiking your hunger, then walking is going to be the answer at 3 to 5 miles an hour. And then you can check that on like Waze, for example. And then the other thing that you can do is supercharge it with a weighted vest. And if you really want to supercharge it a million times, you can, now I'm walking less than 3 miles an hour, so I'm going to show you a spring. But you can supercharge it even more by walking backwards or barefooting in a field. Now I'm walking through some stuff that might have some poison ivy and some random sticker bush things, I don't know. So I have sandals on right now and I'm walking forwards. But coming up on a spring here that is kind of, to me, a secret spring. And I'm gonna flip the camera around and show you this thing. It's really cool, very unsuspecting, and it's on this old ranch land that's close to my neighborhood. And I'll kind of show you how I figured out it was a spring, but yeah, we're here. It doesn't look like much. There's a little, what seems to be a flowing river right here. And what's crazy is there's a river flowing there. There's evidence of a little river right here, but there's none. And then if we go over here, we had some pretty big rains. And then there's a river, small creek right here. You can kind of see it. But that creek goes around this bend right here. And what I'm going to show you is before the bend. And I think it's really cool. So I'm going to flip the camera around, show you what I'm talking about. So here's that dry river thingy. And there's the one that is running back there. You can barely see it, but it's running this way behind those trees over there. So now the real question becomes, well, what the hell is feeding this thing? And you can see there's actually flow coming out of the earth. I mean, there's no more. There's nothing here. And it's coming out of here, and there's significant flow here. And if I put my hand down there, this water is like, I don't know, 60 or maybe about 60 degrees, which is highly indicative of a spring. And we have trickling water right here coming out from under this rock that I'm standing on. And then we have a lot of water coming out from right here, which is pretty cool. So yeah, we have a little secret spring in the back of my neighborhood. And it's like beautiful clear water that's coming out of here, and it's like 60 degrees if I put my hand down there. It's very cold. Now you might be thinking, like, why the hell are you showing us this? Why are you geeking out about that? Well, it's totally awesome if you think about it. I live close to a road called Spicewood Springs Road, and on Spicewood Springs Road, all over and up and down this area of Austin, Texas, there are tons of springs, right? So anyone that owned ranch land back in the day here probably found some of those springs and they would kind of like, how do I say it? They would wall it up a little bit so where it could pool, and then their livestock could actually drink from a steady water source, which is neat. Now, I don't know if they built copper pipes or little urn-looking things to catch the water, but frequently when I do hikes around, certain parts of this town, I'll see like catching mechanisms from back in the day homestead stuff, and they try to catch spring water, but springs are all over this part of town. It's so awesome if you think about it, that this water is heavily filtered and it's underneath the surface and it just comes up and it rises up, So all over Northwest Austin are mini springs everywhere. And some people don't even know about. Actually, majority of them people don't know about. I just happened to find that one back there. But yeah, thought I would show you the springs in the neighborhood. Pretty cool. And it's as cold as Barton Springs, which is the big one that you might see in my videos in back in the day. I feel like it's kind of hard to talk when I'm doing this, but at the end of the day, walkie-talkies are all about getting outside. It's all about tips and improving your health at the very end, of course. So remember those things I asked you about earlier in the video, and comment down below. And if you're looking for a way to get health back into your life, load your joints a little bit, burn some fat, and it's not terribly crazy on your hunger, then yeah, you should be walking every day. And I wouldn't even look at that whole how many steps or whatever. Just make sure it's purposeful walking, like you're doing it with purpose. And that's where the 3 to 5 miles an hour thing comes in, because that helps you stay accountable to that. You could weight vest it like me. This definitely puts purpose on the whole thing. And I'm a full 3/4 of a mile from my house right now. And I'm walking back. And I'm gonna walk back fast. That's just what it is. So anyway, some people in the comments will find these videos motivating, and others might be like, I don't like this content, not in your reselling channel. And I'm at the point in my life now where, it's gonna sound kind of brash, but I don't care anymore, Like I really enjoy intertwining some of these things together because I think they matter that much. And having met so many resellers back in the green room days when they came to town, the amount of discussions that pivoted towards being healthy was crazy, right? Over half of the discussions pivoted towards health on a reseller meetup. Think about that. So yeah, just maybe taking the gift that I have and, trying to impart it across the internet y'all's way. And if you have any questions about these kind of things, then just ask me down below. If you want something of a topic to be discussed on the next walkie-talkie, then you can also put that down below and I'll check it out. Okay, I got about, a little less than 3/4 of a mile to walk. I'll see you on the next video. Take it easy. Goodbye.